So,
Wonderful.
our next interview is going to be Mr. Kieran. We are going to go to the city of Arbalis, which is in the Timira region, fairly close to Wisteria. You have this nice, more calm, quiet, not problematic at all kingdom. Very large. A lot of people here. Kieran has been in this city for a bit. We're actually going to start with you at a table being held in a room, guard standing in front of you at the door, arms crossed, just waiting. It's been silent for a couple of minutes now. They've been waiting for someone to show up to come talk to you, ask you some questions and things like that. But as you're sitting there waiting for a couple minutes, eventually one of the other guards from a face you're probably familiar with walks into the room, opens the door, steps forward, sighs a little bit, and he says, "You're lucky, kid. Someone seems to care about you enough to pay to cover what you stole and then some. So we're going to go ahead and get you out of here. Let's go." And he motions for you to follow him. The other guard sort of like looks confused a second, and he just raises his hand and waves him off.
I just wink at the guard as I stand up and sassily walk off with them.
He brings you out to the front where probably the strangest thing you've ever seen in your life. There is a, like, just over 5 foot tall turtle man standing there. He's got this, like, dark green skin. He's got literally a shell on his back. He's very muscular. And he's got, like, leather bits of armor filling in the gaps from where his shell doesn't cover. He's got this stern, stoic face with wrinkles on it, a couple of, like, battle scars here and there, just small dots everywhere. He's standing there with his arms crossed at a desk, talking to the clerk, very low and gruff. And as you walk out, he looks over to you and he just says, "Are you Kieran?"
I believe so, if the large turtle monster in front of me wants me.
Monster's not the right word, but come on, let's go get some food. We can actually talk when we got something on our stomachs. Thank you, boys. And he starts to head out, and the guards are letting you go.
Shake off my wrists a bit. Get myself all ready. Okay, where are we going to food from? I'm quite starved.
If I remember correctly, there's a nice tavern just a couple blocks away. I haven't been here very often, but it's all right. We'll find somewhere. Follow me.
Love a tavern. It's always a good entrance to something. I forget the name of it, though.
He sort of like eyes through the streets as you guys walk and looks up at some of the buildings, trying to find a good place to eat. And eventually you guys spot a place and he says, "This'll work." And you guys walk into a place called the Knight's Respite Tavern. You guys walk in. As you guys are walking, he's getting some like strange glances. You know, people who are literally turtles are not very common. You've probably never seen one before, may have heard about them, thought they were fake even. So some people are like whispering and talking to their friends as they pass by. But you guys walk into this tavern, and this nice, pretty young human girl waitress approaches you guys. She's got her hair back in a ponytail, apron on. She walks up to the two of you, startled a little bit, and she just says, "Hey, would you guys like a seat? You want to order food to go?" And the turtle man says, "Table, please." And she says, "Right this way," and begins to guide you guys out. And she sort of like glances down at you, back up at the turtle, and guides you guys to a table. She sits you down, says, "I'll be right back to go, get y'all's orders," and she heads out for a second.
Kieran's definitely glancing at her as she goes by and doesn't take his eye off until she leaves sight. And he sighs a bit. You sure know how to pick the place, don't you?
Sure, I guess.
Oh, wonderful. So, what does Big Turtle Man want to do with me?
Well, I was, sent from Ura Lumis, this school that hopefully you already know of, to interview you, actually.
Ura Lumis?
Ura Lumis, that's right.
Ura Lumis, okay.
Yep.
I got it.
The waitress comes back with a little notepad, and seems a little more like used to it at this point. She very cheerfully just says, "All right, what can I get you guys?"
I glance.
Professor Man sort of nods to you and just says, "Get whatever you want. I'll just get a water and whatever special you have today." She says, "All right, okay. We have a nice beef stew with potatoes. I'll get you that and a water. And for you?"
A nice stout with, let's see, whatever nice stew you got on right now. And some of those buns. I love the buns dipped in the stout.
Tarada glares at you a little bit. Not like a mean glare telling you to stop, but just like noticing that you're flirting. And then sits up a little bit, stands there, and the waitress says, "Okay, yeah, sure, we'll bring out some bread for you guys. I'll bring you the same, that stew that we have. And then you said, nice stout mead, okay. All right, I will be back out in just a couple minutes with that. Thank you, guys." And she walks away.
I just continue glancing as she walks away. Gosh, I wonder if she's free later. Oh, sorry, we have stuff to do, don't we?
Yeah, so listen, I got a list of questions to ask you, and then obviously I'm supposed to get a feel for if you're a danger or a threat to the school. Not like that would be an issue, but just gotta do normal interview things. Get to know you so I can relay some information to the school about you. Why don't we start? You just tell me whatever you want to about yourself. What do you think's... Who are you? Who is Kieran?
Oh, I'm Kieran. That's all you have to know. What do you need me for? How do you know me?
What do you mean? The school director gave me a name and a vague description, said where you'd be, and I came here to find you, and he said to get to know you. So, really, I know nothing. You gotta fill in some blanks for me here.
See Kieran kind of shuffle himself up, brush his shirt off a bit, smile, and he feels like he puts on another mask as he says, Kieran, I am, just a charming fellow who has a good way of the words, a good slick dagger, and knows how to make money when I need to."
Really? Is that
Yes.
Is that why you've apparently been brought in and arrested 4 times in the past few weeks?
I'm sorry, the elven lady I was with was very lovely, and I thought I could trust her, but no. I gambled a one too many, and she stole it all. So I stole it back.
Sure. As you guys start talking, the waitress comes back, gives you guys the water, and then sets the food in front of you guys. She brings an extra water for you, and then also brings you the drink you ordered. She wipes her hands off really quick and says, "All right, anything else I can do for you guys?" That'll be...
I lean over and ask.
Go ahead.
I say, before you finish that sentence, when's your next break?
Before she even answers, Tarada, that's his name, by the way, coughs and says, "Hey, Kieran, did you ever get that rash checked out by the doctor that I recommended to you? You definitely want to get that taken care of before you bring another girl over."
I look up at him with, one eye. I'm sorry,
stone
that's his turtle disease, I thought.
Yeah, I think I gave it to you.
Oh my gosh. I look at her and say, "Sorry about that. My friend's a little bit cuckoo in the head after he got slammed by the troll. Not my fault he likes troll ladies. Look at him, he's a turtle."
He shrugs it off and starts eating. She says, "Well, my next break isn't for a few hours, but, if you're still here by then, we'll see. Anyway, that'll be 8 silver for y'all's meal, and the drink."
I look at the turtle. You're paying, right?
Yeah, he pulls out a gold piece and hands it to her, and he says, I'll just wave you down. If we need anything else, don't worry about us." She says, "Right as always," and she heads out, and then glances back at you, but you're not really exactly sure what that glance means.
I'll find out later.
Maybe. As you guys start
Um,
eating, Tarada's just sort of chowing down a little bit, and in between bites, he says, "Oh, it's kind of rude of me. You're Kieran. I'm Professor Tarada, by the way. Paladin Professor at Ura Lumis. I help teach some of the magic stuff in some combat classes. Figure that'll help you get to know me a little bit before I ask you all these questions."
Fair enough. What's the paladin teacher doing interviewing me?
Well, the school has this thing where they like to, whatever class you might be affiliated with, they want to send not the opposite, but a completely different type of professor. So, for you, if they would have sent Gilnick or Narath here, that wouldn't have really fit because you guys are kind of, birds of the same feather. But being completely different, this will give you a little taste of diversity, we'll say.
Diversity. I do love diversity.
Good.
Always makes things fresh.
I sure hope so. Anyway, let's get to it. Where are you from, kid? Any parents?
I'm from a very faraway land, as you may know.
Alright.
Parents you don't really know about.
He writes down on a little notepad, and you just see him basically just writing no. And he says, "Alright, sure. Well, if you're not from Arbalest, what brings you here? I mean, it's a nice city and all, but someone kind of as young as you traveling all by yourself doesn't sound very safe."
I had some fallings out and decided to start anew, as you could say.
Sure, fresh start. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. You say you come here and you're a little talented at the gambling and apparently stealing and pickpocketing and lying and escaping the guards. Where'd you pick it up? Those aren't things that you're just born with.
I had some friends long ago, and we used to do a few gigs. Nothing crazy. I didn't assassinate anyone or steal from anyone who didn't deserve it, but I'm a noble rogue, as you may call me.
Sure.
I just had a long past of an 18-year-old. Gosh, I feel like I'm 30 some days.
Well, it's understandable. So, you ever consider putting those talents of yours to a little bit more of a beneficial purpose, other than gambling in street corners and stealing petty amounts of gold?
I'll be honest with one thing with you, that's for sure. I would love to use my talents to go on a grand adventure. Go see faraway lands, woo maidens and lads of all types.
Sure.
I would love to.
Okay.
And I was thinking maybe your school would be a good start for me. If you'd have me, of course.
Well,
If it,
I think you would know you've already gotten the acceptance letter. But, you can read, right?
yes.
Okay, just checking.
If
He-
I'm not drunk.
Sits for a minute, takes a drink of his water, writes a note or two down and sets his notepad to the side and he says, "Listen, kid, from the little that I know about the situation, the guards told me a bit, but seems like you're just kind of in a bad place and could use someone to help you out, and I get that. Listen, the guards told me this wasn't your first time being brought in, or your second, or your third, but they did say that you only ever steal a few gold at a time, not a lot. Let me guess, enough to just eat and sleep?"
Don't like to pick pockets to people I don't know who don't deserve it. So, yes, just to eat and sleep.
All right. He finishes up his meal and organizes everything, finishes the water and sets it to the side, grabs out another gold piece and sets it by the plates. And he says, "Well, I mean, sounds like we got just the program for you. I'm gonna put in a word with Gilnick. I think she'll take a liking to you. But
Gilnick.
yeah,
She.
yes,
Okay.
you are gonna love her. Well, listen,
Wonderful.
school starts on the 10th, so you got a couple weeks to get there and get all your affairs in order. I think if you leave now, you could arrive in Ilium and have a couple days to spare. So I'll let you take that on your own time. If you decide not to show up, you decide not to show up. He starts to stand up as you're also finishing your meal, and you guys start to head out. The waitress comes, gives you guys a friendly smile, and takes all the plates and heads out. And he guides you to the door. As you guys walk out, what do you say?
I look around and say, look up to the tall, stout, stoic turtle man.
Oh, not tall,
Well-
but definitely stout.
Oh.
He's
Sorry,
like
that was
5'2".
Oh, he's like my height. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm taller than him. Okay. Hopefully I'll see you around at the school then.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll be in different areas, but I'm sure we'll pass each other at some point.
Just make sure to keep your paladins at bay around me. Don't want them to lose any of their tenants.
Sure, I'll do my best. You guys go out and he holds the door open for you so you can leave ahead of him. But as you're walking out, he walks out behind you and sort of puts his arm on your shoulder, stopping you in the street. He says, listen, kind of off the books, but someone I really admire once told me something that I think you might need to hear, and it might just convince you to actually show up to the school instead of bailing last minute. But I don't think anyone deserves to be judged for their mistakes, but rather by what they do when they get a second chance. I think second chances are important, and this school is all about that. He pulls out a hefty bag of what you assume to be gold coins just from the look of it, and he sort of shoves it into your chest. And he says, this is your second chance, kid.
I'm just kind of speechless at the gold handed to me.
Hope to see you at school.
Yeah.
And he claps you on the back and starts to walk away.
I kind of yelp out a bit of a thank you
He,
as I go and sit down beside the tavern door.
you see him hold up a thumbs up above his shoulder as he's walking away, sort of like wobbling a little bit side to side. You take this bag of coins and you open it up, and your first estimate, you think there's at least 60, 65, 70 gold coins in there. Definitely enough to get you to the school and then some extra.
I wonder if I could turn this into 100.
And with that, we see a zoom out over the city as people walk through different streets, some corners dedicated to gambling in the shadows, and our lovely little friend Kieran there sitting on the steps outside of a tavern, debating on whether or not to gamble away the gift that he just got. And that'll be our interview.